This is some of the most amazing, I don't even know what to call it, euphemisms, I guess, but propaganda, whitewashing, I guess would be the best word, covering over the truth of the situation. This is from the Committee to Protect Journalists, all right? This is an international organization. Their job, their only job in the world is to try and protect journalists. And even they can't tell you the truth about what is going on right now. Even they are afraid to go against the Israeli propaganda. This is from the Committee to Protect Journalists. They talk about, it's an article titled Journalist Casualties in the Israeli-Gaza Conflict. Now, for those of you who have not been studying this and you haven't been reading that much on it, I will ask you a question that I bet you can still answer. How many? So we have October 7th, right, when Hamas attacked, killed many people. Now, many of those people were killed by the IDF when they decided to just bomb the buildings that Hamas was holding hostages in. But that being said, many people killed October 7th by Hamas. Knowing what little you may know about these stories and things, how many journalists do you think Hamas killed on October 7th? Which is the only time that Hamas has really killed anyone during these conflicts. During this war, whatever you want to call it. I've talked about how each of these terms is really bullshit, but during this massacre, how many journalists? I'm going to say probably zero, because Hamas was not targeting journalists, right? Hamas was going into these kibbutzes, grabbing settlers, grabbing IDF, sometimes killing IDF, but they weren't looking around for journalists. They were grabbing people on these kibbutzes that are nearby to the border with Gaza. So I don't know that we have the final reporting on how many journalists might have been killed on October 7th, but I bet you it's either like 0 or 1. It's probably something like that, because that was not Hamas's goal. So of the journalists killed during this conflict, it's been 100% or almost 100% done by Israel, because Israel is targeting journalists. They're calling journalists' houses and saying, get out now, and then bombing the houses and often killing the journalists, sometimes killing their families. A well-known Al Jazeera reporter had his family killed and then continued to do his reporting because he didn't know what else to do. Okay, so knowing what we know, that this is essentially 100% Israel killing journalists, think about this title, Journalist Casualties in the Israel-Gaza Conflict. And then think about these first 2 paragraphs. The Israeli-Gaza conflict has taken a severe toll on journalists since Hamas launched its unprecedented attack against Israel on October 7th, and Israel declared war on the militant Palestinian group. No, Israel has declared war on all Palestinians, not just the group, launching strikes on the blockaded Gaza Strip, which is really a prison, not just blockaded, it's a prison. Okay, first paragraph. Who do you think's doing the killing of journalists? Who do you think's harming journalists? Because by that first paragraph, you have no idea, right? Sounds pretty even-handed. I guess journalists are dying on both sides. I guess that's what's going down. No, it's not. No, it's not. What's happening is, yes, Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, and now Israel is killing all the journalists they can. That's what's happening. That's what's going on right now. And yet the Committee to Protect Journalists won't tell you who's actually doing the killing and murdering of journalists. To continue, CPJ is investigating all the reports of journalists killed, injured, detained, or missing in the war, including those hurt as hostilities spread to neighboring Lebanon. As of October 31st, CPJ's preliminary investigation showed at least 31 journalists and media workers were among. Now, do you think they're going to say those murdered by Israel, which is the truth? No, they're going to say we're among more than 9,000 killed on both sides. They're basically putting all of the murders into one big bucket called those murdered during conflict. And they're saying 31 journalists have been killed or injured in the conflict. It's all by Israel. It's all by Israel. All the journalists murdered and killed and harmed have been by Israel. But they're not saying that. They just put it into a big bucket. So you don't know who's doing the attacking of journalists. It's really unbelievable to see the Committee to Protect Journalists can't say the truth on who the journalists need to be protected from. It, I mean, amazing, amazing.